Well guys, we are back with another BRZ video. If you didn't watch the last video, we got this bad boy all tore out of the BRZ, which is still over here on the lift. Oh, these other projects. Yeah. Waiting to get this off the lift. Pretty much waiting for the tractor to get done being worked on. Move this off the lift, and we're actually moving the GC out of here for now, just because I want to have the BRZ right here, and then they're going to be doing some interior work while I work on the engine, and I don't want any chances of it getting dinged up or anything. All this stuff, powder coating stuff, this is all new. We need to set that up, but we need to fix a leak in the roof before we can do that. So everything's kind of chaotic right now, but we can work on the engine because all I need is engine stand and a bench and we're good to go. So this video, I think we're just going to get this engine tore down and we should be able to see what was wrong with it, some type of rod knock. And so yeah, pull the pan, get everything tore apart, we will see what's wrong with it. So first things, I think I want to get everything intake and all the wiring off first, and then we can go from there. Well, that wasn't too bad. Of course, it makes it a lot easier when it's not in the car. But holy cow, the only thing I can say is this thing has some sensors and I don't know, so many connectors to disconnect on this thing. Just seems like everything, I don't know. I'm just used to working on the old EJs and there's definitely not that many sensors on them. So yeah, that was just a lot to undo, but went pretty good. Got everything out, didn't break one connector, so that's always good. Everything came off pretty easy. Obviously, I assume this is like a high pressure fuel pump or something. And I need to look up what the procedure is for taking off this timing cover, if I need to do everything with these, because like I said, I've never worked on this specific engine, so I just want to double check to make sure I do everything correctly so I don't shoot myself in the foot and end up costing more money or more time. So, but for the most part, everything looks pretty straightforward. Still need to get off the coolant overcross, but yeah, let's get coolant stuff all taken off and then we can start focusing on timing cover and everything that goes into that. Well, after watching some videos and a little bit of research, looks like I don't have to do anything. I just wasn't sure if you had to do anything here before you pull the timing cover, but it looks like it just comes off and these are just position sensors. So really all I need to do is pull the water pump pulley and the crank pulley and start pulling out every single one of these nuts, bolts. I don't know how many there are, but there's a lot. So get those off, then we can start pulling it. Got the pulleys off, all of the timing bolts off, I believe, all like 30 of them. Now, it looks like there are a few pry points that we can use to get a pry bar in there and try and slowly break this loose. I really doubt this is very cheap, so we do not want to crack it. There's a lot of RTV holding this thing on. So let's take her slow. Hopefully we can do this without breaking it. Everything went pretty good. My advice is just take your time, slowly break that silicone loose. Like I said, all of this entire surface is going to be glued down with silicone, so if you just start prying, this is just aluminum, you're going to break something. So just take your time, and there's several pry points all along this, so you can get it off, just work slow at it. So I guess now we get to see how all these tensioners work. Wonder if I should move it to top dead center before moving forward. Never a bad idea. Drop the oil pan, things like that. But everything looks really good. Just got a rod knock. Besides that, engine looks great. Everything looks clean. Down in here, you don't have any carbon buildup down in the valves like you would on a direct injection motor. So yeah, everything looks really good. It's just that dang rod knock. So let's do a little more research, see what we need to do. I probably do need a special tool for these, because yeah, we do not want to screw these up. I actually don't even know if we can reuse these, but we'll find out. So back to the research and see how we take the timing stuff off. So first of all, you do want to get your timing marks aligned, which is you got a little triangle here and a triangle there on both the cams. Want them facing on both sides. You can see a little better on this side. And then here you want your dowel pin to be facing down. So pretty easy to time. Get those lined up, and then we can figure out our tensioner. Controlled by oil pressure, so you are going to have oil come out of these. You can see, these little holes right there. That oh, camera died. Anyways, tensioners are controlled by oil pressure. That's what I was trying to get at. So now that this side is done, I actually just pulled the chain off to the side for here, because we actually have to rotate the crankshaft to relieve pressure, because these are under spring pressure right now. So we actually have to rotate the crankshaft, looks like about 65 degrees or so. So I guess you want your alignment dowel, or your keyway, to be lined up with this tensioner guide right here. So you'll be rotating, like I said, about 65 degrees, 70. All right, keyway is facing towards that pin. Now we should be able to go through the same procedure for this side. Well, I think this is where I've hit my wall. I think I need a special socket to get these cam gears off, so guess I'll have to figure out what I'm gonna do there. But made some progress tonight, so not too shabby. I guess I will get back to this when I figure out or get the socket that I need for this, and then we can get to the heads. Well, turns out the type of socket you need is called an E16. I don't know what the E stands for, but that is what you need. And I actually found a set inside our toolbox. My father-in-law liked to just buy random things, and I guess these are some of the random things he bought because we had some, and I don't know why, because we've never used them before, but I guess he knew someday we're gonna need them. So got those off, loosen them all, and pull off these cam gears, and then probably start working on valve covers and things like that so that we can pull these heads off. All right, we have the cam cradle, rollers, all that out. Everything looks really good. So cam journals look good, which is always good. What are we doing?
We are fixing on the engine too.
We are fixing on the engine, huh? So next we just have to get these cylinder head bolts out, and then we can pull the head. See what the pistons look like, huh?
It doesn't have the numbers on.
We will be replacing all these with head studs.
This is so awesome. Oh man. This is hard, man. What is that sound?
Well, heads off. Everything's looking great. Pistons look great. Head gasket looks perfect. Everything's looking really good, which doesn't surprise me because I don't know, which doesn't surprise me. It's not like it was a head gasket failure. So pull the other head, and then we can pull the drain plug and hopefully see which bearing went out. Well, our good luck has ran out. First noticed when I pulled the cams off, if you hear that, that is no bueno. That means that material went through the oil and went through, should sound like this. Can't hear anything. But here. And pretty much all of them have that scoring on them. And so if they're on the cams, that means most likely to be on the journals. So yeah, pretty much all of these are toast. So we are going to need all new cam cradles, camshafts. I didn't catch it on these ones, but these are the same. Chewed up. That's just what happens when you run your engine when it's knocking for too long. So material went down into oil pan, got sucked up, and it just doesn't, it takes very small material, can leave that. So fortunately this just got a little more expensive, but we'll see what we're gonna do. But still need to pull the pan. I believe it's number 4 that let go. When I pressed on here, it popped back, where all these other pistons are, they're good. But when I pushed on number 4, you heard it pop back into place. So that tells me that there is a lot of clearance on that bearing. So let's get this oil pan pulled and we can see what it looks like inside. Yeah, if I was paying for gold, I'd be pretty happy about that, but no bueno. That is bearing material. And yeah, all those little pieces going through the oil, and then oil gets sucked up, starts going through all your parts inside, and that's where your scoring comes from. So best thing when you start hearing your engine knock is to just shut it off, or else you can just do a lot more damage. So I was expecting to see that. I was hoping not to see the scoring on all the cam journals and all that, but is what it is. Let's flip this over and see if we can't find a Rodney. Well, I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but hopefully you can at least hear it. See how much play is in that? That means the bearing is completely gone in that one. So that's our culprit, which we knew, but cylinder number 4, bearing left the chat and took the camshafts with it, unfortunately. Well guys, I think I'm going to end this one here. We got the engine completely taken apart. We found out everything that was wrong with it, and we just need to start coming up with a game plan of what we want to do. We already have an IAG short block, so we already knew that we were going to be completely upgrading the short block, but the heads were something that we weren't entirely planning on. I told them we won't know until we have it taken apart, and so we're definitely going to need new camshafts. And the cradles most likely as well. So that's just something we're gonna have to talk about, but we'll figure that out and then figure out how to build it better. So thank you guys for all the support, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.